Hope you all are doing good. So today the video is regarding a very important topic, and the topic of the video is how can India counter Pakistan's proxy war strategy. And this video is a part of GD topics with the leads discussion series. And before this, I have made a couple of important GD topics. If you want to watch all these videos, the link of the playlist is available in the I button. So in this video, I will be discussing all the three leads one by one. So like always, without wasting any time, let us start. So the topic of the GD is how can India counter Pakistan's proxy war strategy? Three leads are given. So the very first is it through regional security and strategic partnership? Second is it through cyber warfare and information warfare? And the third lead is it through diplomacy and engaging global institutions, that is isolating Pakistan globally? Now let us discuss each lead one by one. So starting with the first lead, strengthening regional security and building alliances. So India can protect itself from Pakistan's proxy war by making stronger partnership with its neighboring countries. As we know that India's security is closely linked to the safety of the countries around it. And Pakistan uses proxy war tactics where it helps terrorist groups to attack India. And in order to stop this, India needs to strengthen its relationship with neighbors and also to make strong alliances. So therefore, India should look to enhancing its security cooperation, especially with countries like Afghanistan, Iran, or Bangladesh, as Afghanistan has been the main battleground for Pakistan's proxy war strategy, with insurgents being trained and financed across the border. So India can further support for Pakistan's security by help building its defense infrastructure, enhancing border security, and offering training and intelligence sharing. So this will not only curb Pakistan's influence in Afghanistan, but will also deny them a critical launch pad for proxy operations, which is aimed at destabilizing India. Then strengthening ties with Iran would allow India to develop a foothold in the region, particularly through the strategic Chabahar port, which bypasses Pakistan and offers an alternative to CPEC. So both the countries, that is India and Iran, they can coordinate on counter-terrorism operations, especially since both the countries, they face terrorism from Pakistani-based terrorist organizations like Lashkar-e-Taiba. Then talking about India-Bangladesh, so both the countries have strong relations, but also faces the repercussions of Pakistan-supported terrorist activities within its border. So India can enhance its ties with Bangladesh by supporting anti-terrorism initiatives, intelligence sharing, and coordinated military efforts, strengthening the border between India and Bangladesh, which will also ensure that no space is given for the terrorist infiltration. And beyond the bilateral ties, India can look to build a coalition of countries that are similarly affected by Pakistan's proxy war. So by collaborating with countries like Sri Lanka, Myanmar, and even Central Asian countries like Uzbekistan, can create a unified front against the growing threat of terrorism. Now talking about the second lead, that is countering proxy war through cyber warfare and information warfare. So in the 21st century, we all know that cyber warfare and information warfare have become key tools in the arsenal of nations involved in geopolitical conflicts. So these tools are particularly effective in countering non-traditional, low-cost, and decentralized threat like proxy wars. So cyber capabilities allow India to disrupt Pakistan's proxy networks without a direct military configuration. And this could involve several components: disrupting terrorist communication network. So as we know that Pakistan terror groups such as Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba, they rely heavily on secure communications for their planning and coordination. So India can use offensive cyber operations to infiltrate and disable these communication channels, disrupting terrorist attacks before they take place. India can also block or intercept any electronic communication between these groups and their Pakistani handlers. So terrorist organizations use Pakistan's national infrastructure for logistics, funding, and movement. So by targeting the financial networks that fund these groups, India could create significant disruptions. So this could involve cyber attacks on Pakistan's banking system or logistic hub, effectively curtailing their ability to fund and support proxy operations. And in addition to offensive cyber operations, India must also protect itself from Pakistan's possible cyber attacks, strengthening cyber defenses to safeguard critical infrastructure such as military systems, communication networks, power grids that would prevent Pakistan from exploiting vulnerabilities. And alongside cyber operations, India must counter Pakistan's extensive use of information warfare, which includes propaganda, fake news, and social media manipulation. So Pakistan has successfully used all these tools to spread the disinformation and foster anti-India sentiment worldwide. So India must build a strong public diplomacy narrative to challenge Pakistan's portrayal of India's action, particularly in Kashmir. India can use social media platforms, documentaries, and international news outlets to highlight the terrorist attacks emanating from Pakistan and provide evidence of Pakistan's involvement in promoting terrorism. And India can create a strong counter narratives on social media platforms challenging false claims made by Pakistan about India's policies in Kashmir and other regions. And India's digital presence can help expose the truth behind terrorist attacks, the cross-border infiltration from Pakistan, and the funding mechanism of terror outfits. India can also engage in direct cyber campaigns to sabotage the websites and online presence of Pakistani-based terror groups, thus preventing them from spreading extremist ideologies and recruiting individuals. Moving to the third and the last lead, that is countering Pakistan's proxy war for diplomacy and engaging global institutions. So one of India's most powerful tools in countering Pakistan's proxy war strategy lies in the diplomatic arena. So by engaging international organizations and forming strategic alliances, India can hold Pakistan accountable for its state-sponsored terrorism while strengthening its own position on the global stage. United Nations, India has the opportunity to highlight Pakistan's involvement in terrorism at global forums such as United Nations Security Council and General Assembly. India can propose resolutions condemning Pakistan's sponsorship of terrorism, urging international sanctions and calling for dismantling of terror networks operating from the Pakistani soil. And these actions would isolate Pakistan diplomatically and hold it accountable for its action. And India can also engage in diplomatic efforts to highlight the terror attacks, which is sponsored by Pakistan, pushing for international condemnation of Pakistan practices. And also with the strong support of countries like US, France, and Israel, India can build a united front that demands global action against Pakistan. And also, Pakistan's financial links to terror groups have been widely documented, and its failure to curb money laundering and terror financing has placed it under the FATF grey list. So India should work with the global powers to increase pressure on Pakistan through FATF, that is Financial Action Task Force, to ensure that Pakistan is fully compliant with the international anti-terror financing norms. India could advocate for the further tightening of sanctions against Pakistan's financial institutions and its ability to access international banking system, thus denying terror organizations the resources they just need to operate. And India could also consider approaching ICJ, that is International Court of Justice, to address Pakistan's violation of international law, particularly concerning cross-border terrorism. So by bringing a case to ICJ, India can push for a legal framework that compels Pakistan to cease its proxy war activities. And finally, India can form a coalition of like-minded nations such as US, Israel, and other anti-terrorism coalitions to increase global pressure on Pakistan. By working together, these nations can push for stronger diplomatic, economic, and military actions to combat Pakistan's use of proxy warfare. So friends, this is all about the three leaders of discussion for the given topic, and I hope this video will be beneficial for you. Stay tuned for more such topics. So until then, keep learning, keep preparing, keep watching, and keep supporting. Thank you, and best of luck.